So what we're going to do, we'll get started because I know a lot of you have things after this. Monday, October 31st, for those of you who are American students or who were here last year, Halloween. Shopping carts open. And I'll talk more about what shopping carts are and why you need to use those. Monday, November 14th, you can actually sign up for courses. RIT calls it enrollment. You may be familiar with the term register. Monday, November 28th. So just remember Monday. Something's going on a Monday. For those of you who have advising holds, and I'll talk about what those are and why you would have one, if we took it off so that you could sign up for courses, we're going to put it back on the 28th. Okay? Any questions so far? Okay. Advising holds. Why would you have an advising hold? Anybody have an idea why you would have an advising hold? It's a pop quiz. Did I forget to tell you about this? Bridge courses, yes. Or some people are struggling, so if they're in academic probation, we also put an advising hold on for those people as well. If you're in your bridge courses right now, you have an advising hold. That means you can set up your shopping cart, but when you go to finalize everything, it won't work. If you're on academic probation, you have an advising hold. If I forgot to remove your advising hold, you have an advising hold. If you have an advising hold, it will tell you on SIS that you have a hold, okay? If you're not sure why you have the hold, come and see me, email me, and I can let you know what the hold is, okay? If you have an advising hold, you will not be able to register or enroll on November 14th unless you have already seen me. You can try to contact me on November 14th, but I still there's so many hours in the day, so let's try to plan ahead, okay? Students with an advising hold must see me before you go to sign up for courses. You can do shopping cart ahead of time, but you can't do the final step. Okay? So if you're taking statistics at Monroe Community College, if you're taking Java, if you're taking networking, calculus, whatever you're taking, if you're taking it this semester, come and see me. Okay? Enrollment with an advising. Now, for those of you who do not have an advising hold, if you want to see me, I love seeing you guys. If you don't, and I have more candy. If you don't want to see me, if you just want to go ahead and take care of your business, you can do that. I'll only cry a little bit. But if you do have an advising hold, you have to come in and see me. I have added appointments on my calendar specifically for advising. So I've added time for you. You come in, we sit down, we have a nice talk about how your courses are going, what you want to take in the spring, what your plans are, and then I release the advising hold, and then you go off and set up your shopping cart and go on your merry way. Okay? 2 weeks after the enrollment period, we will go in, look at what you did. If we have questions like, why are you in 7 classes? Or do you know these courses won't count toward your degree? Then we will contact you probably by email and say, please come in and see me. We have some concerns. Okay? If everything's fine, everything's fine. If you're in a bridge course, we're going to put the hold back on so that we make sure we get the grades, that they're a B or better. And if you're taking the bridge course somewhere else, like Monroe Community College, that we get the transcripts, okay? Any questions so far? Okay. What is a shopping cart? How many of you are familiar with shopping carts? Okay, all of the returning students should be familiar with shopping carts. For those of you who are new, think of Amazon or Barnes & Noble, because we have Barnes & Noble. You go in, you put things in your shopping cart, then you look at the bill at the bottom, you go, oh, maybe not. Take some things out. So the shopping cart is the first step, and it lets you start setting up your spring courses. So you'll be able to go in, set up shopping cart. You'll be able to see what's offered in the spring, what times courses are being offered, and you'll be able to set up a preliminary schedule, okay? While we're talking about shopping cart, let me see if this is still open. Yes, okay. So if you're not sure how to do shopping cart or how to set things up, if you go into SIS, there's an enrollment guide you can click into, and it gives you all the information about why you have to do shopping cart, what it's used for, how you validate shopping cart or check out, okay? And you can go through all of that. You do have to use shopping cart. You can't just go in and add a course. You have to go through the shopping cart process, okay? The benefit of using shopping cart for all of you is that gives us an idea of which courses are filling up. For those of you in IST, think data warehousing. For those of you in computing security, think network security. Because then we can see, oh, the department chairs can go in, they can see 72 students have put this course in their shopping cart. So we can then see what we can do to accommodate you, whether it's adding another section, whether it's planning on a summer section, how we can work with that, okay? If you don't put it in shopping cart, that doesn't give us any time to prepare to meet your needs, okay? You can put courses in shopping cart from another department, computer science, and we'll talk about that later, okay? The one thing that shopping cart does not do is it does not tell you if you have a prerequisite issue. So if you're not sure about a prerequisite, especially if it's a course from outside of the department, like computer science, you can go into that course description and see if there's a prerequisite and then talk with me about what you need to do, okay? The first step, and now it says, and I'm not familiar with shopping cart because I don't have access to using it, so some of you who've used it before might be able to help me with this. It says in the wiki page on shopping carts that you can go in and click on validate to see if you're going to have any conflicts. Can you do that before the first date of enrollment, or do you have to wait?
You can do that as soon as you have access to the shopping cart. You can click on them all and press validate.
Okay.
Which should also do the pre-rec.
So you can click on validate when shopping cart's open. It will tell you if there's a prereq, and it will tell you if there's a time conflict. Thank you. But it won't actually validate your shopping cart until November 14th. Okay? For those of you who are new to this, you will see on SIS when you look at your student page an enrollment appointment date and time, and it'll tell you when shopping carts open. So if your enrollment date is November 14th at 2 p.m., you can go in at 2 p.m. or after 2 p.m. You cannot go in before 2 p.m. Okay? Because this is our IT, and if we have two ways of doing things, we like to do it the complicated way. So, any questions so far? So this is all going to run smoothly, right, everybody? So, additional questions. If you have a non-advising hold, if you owe money, I mean, you can talk with me about it. If there's an issue with your scholarship, we can fix that. But if you owe money, or if you have a hold for the health center, or if you have any other hold, I can tell you who to talk to. I can't release the hold. I can only release my hold, okay? Like I said, you can only validate your shopping cart on November 14th at your appointment time or after. If you plan on taking any courses from another department, if you're in computing security and you want to take networking or vice versa, You're lucky because I'm the advisor for both, so you can come see me for either one. But if you want to take a computer science course or a course from any other department, you have a 2-step approval process. Okay? Does anybody know what those 2 steps are? Well, I'm sorry.
The other department approval and your approval.
Right, you have to get the graduate director to approve it counting in your program, but you also have to get the other department to approve it. Every department does it their own way. So if you've worked with that department before, you'll know the process. If you have not and you want to come and see me, if I don't know the process, I can help you find it out, okay? And then this comes up periodically. Students will contact HP upstairs in computer science and say, Chi approved me to take this course in big data. Well, that's great, but that just means that he says it's counting towards your degree. It does not mean that he's saying you have the background. You still need to talk to computer science to find out if you have the background, okay? Does anyone have any questions? The biggest takeaway I want you to get is you have to, if you have an advising hold, you have to see me. If you don't have one, you don't have to, but you still can. Any questions about the enrollment process?
For shopping carts, can we register for an independent study?
Good question. For shopping carts, can you register for an independent study? You can put it in your shopping cart. I don't think you can validate independent studies or capstones because that has to be done by the department. Okay? So we would talk about the process because those are different processes.
Yep.
Okay? Yes?
Can we register the co-ops in the SIS?
No, we have to approve the co-op and then you register the co-op in Job Zone and then once we see it and it's approved by the department, then we register your co-op in SIS. Okay? Yes?
When can we be sure that the hours for the spring sections are correct?
They will be correct by October 31st.
Okay, so we can't trust them right now, but after
You
the 31st
should be able to. They're pretty much set. Computing security is set. The
IST, the professor said he was going to have it at a different time than what's listed right now.
okay, so they're probably still finalizing that. And I don't know where his conversation is with Steve on that because there's a number of different factors that go into it, like whether there's an available classroom when he wants to teach it or a lab. So it will be set definitely by the 31st. Okay? Yes.
What about the professors?
What about if the professor is assigned, it probably will not change. If it says to be assigned, then we're still finding faculty to teach those courses. Okay? Any other questions? Yes.
Yeah, how long does it take to get through the process of approval for a course from another department?
It depends on your program. If you're in computing security, you just email Professor Mishra, let her know why you want to take the course, she approves it, and then it's really straightforward. If you're in networking, HCI, or IST, there's a form that we fill out. It's called the Graduate Special Topics Approval. You can email it to me to look at. You don't have to. You could also send it right to Chi, and then he approves it, and then you would be fine. But he still also responds pretty quickly. Okay? So we should know if you were to do it this week, for example, you should know by the end of next week at the latest if it's approved. Okay? Any other questions? You guys are coming up with some good questions. Yes?
Is there any more complexity if you choose a course, not just outside the department, but outside the College of Collision?
You still have to get it approved by the department. If you decide to take a course outside of Golisano, let's say you decide to take one from the College of Business, still has to be approved by the department to count towards your degree, and then the College of Business, for example, has to agree that you have the background to take that course.
Yeah, so there's no extra or additional complexity for that.
It still has to be the special topics approval, still the same process. Yes.
So it's the follow-up question for that.
Mhm.
I take a subject from Saunders College. Do I need to talk to a professor in particular who will be teaching that course? So how does it work?
Saunders College, it usually does work with the professor. Okay, but first you want to make sure it's been approved by the graduate director so that it counts. Okay? Any other questions? Yes.
I'm sorry, someone's asking?
He said, he asked if it's with Saunders, if it has to be approved by the
No,
professor.
No. Someone was
Okay.
asking the question.
Nope.
Okay, so I can ask. Okay, so you think it's the right time to talk to the professor in that school directly to know about the prerequisites and
They're going to ask you to look at SIS and look at the course description to see what the prerequisites are. Once you've read the prerequisites for a course from another college, if you think you have that background, then you would talk with the professor about what your background is to see if they agree with you. Okay? They're not required to accept what you tell them. They may ask you to take a test. They may tell you you have to wait until their students enroll. We here in IST and Computing Security, IST gives students 2 weeks. Computing Security gives students until 2 weeks before the semester starts, so they hold their classes longer. Every department has that freedom to make that choice themselves. Okay, so if you're in IST Networking HCI, you have the first 2 weeks of November to enroll, and then those courses get opened up to students from other departments if they have the background. Okay? The other piece of information I wanted to share is if you want to take a course from computer science, say a big data course, they hold their classes until I think it's December 1st or December 14th. It says on SIS. So you would want to talk with me about what you need to do because they have a slightly different process. Okay? Any other questions? Yes?
I have a question. If I'm interested in to take one of the core courses for, let's say, HCI or my network, is it possible to take it as elective?
You're in networking, right? No, what do you...
IST.
IST? We would still have to do the process, the special topics approval, because it's the same department, but it's not your specific program. That's a good question. So if you're in the same department, but you want to take a course in a different area, say you're in IST and you want to take an HCI course, it's the same process. The special topics approval has to be submitted, and then the faculty member has to approve your background. It's a little bit easier because they're familiar with your background. You still have to wait the 2 weeks to give the HCI students a chance to register. Okay? Do you guys have any other questions? That's pretty much what I wanted to pass on to you. So if you have no other questions, like I said, I do have meeting times on my calendar that are set aside for spring enrollment. So you can schedule those meetings. Those are not walk-ins, okay? And if you have any concerns, definitely contact me. The next meeting's going to be in November. We're still looking at a time and date because we know it's going to be a lot of people. It's cookies and capstone. Cookies. I have cookies. I have Girl Scout cookies. So all right. So let me know if you have any questions. Make sure if you came in late that you signed one of the sign-in sheets. Okay?